Bah! Humbug! Turkey for dinner. Again. Relatives and family you really can't stand. Laughing at their crappy jokes. All this. And orange and chestnut stuffing. Christmas is not always fun and joy, that's for sure. Only kidding. Christmas was excellent. I love it, really. Now, on to the event. This is the Fire and Magic event, and I'll be showing my team I'm using for this. So let's dive straight in. Hope you all had a good Christmas. Without too much orange and chestnut stuffing, anyway. Anyway, what I was saying was... right, if you're a newer player, you may be able to jump in and find it beneficial to buy a tier 1 for this, because you're going to get a potion of enchantment, which is going to enchant all your troops on every single battle for the entirety that you play this event for. So, really good value, and you get extra sigils, extra gold, extra shards, extra souls, extra lots. So, definitely worth doing that. If you've got more gems, you may want to buy some of the other things as well, but for me the tier 1 is the most beneficial one. Quite often the potion of explosion can actually spoil what was a really good start. You may start the game and see a really nice 4 or 5 match, which is ideal to get you going, and the potion of explosion comes along and ruins it, and then actually makes it a little bit slower. All the good with the bad on that one. Alright, on the fight itself, you should be in a guild, and these are really worth doing, these kind of events, because the whole guild takes part, and the further you do the stages, the more rewards you get, and they get better and better as the stages go on. And you feel good about yourself because you're helping your guild out as well, so all good there. Now, for this team, I'm going in the Sunspear class, and we're using Cyril Frostanath because it deals a good amount of damage to all enemies. For the first bunch of fights, we're going to be wiping out the entire team in one cast. And she also does or he, I don't know who it is. I don't know what said she. I don't see any boobies. Oh, anyway, I digress. And also freezes 1 to 4 random enemies. So freezes 1 minimum to possibly the entire team. I don't know why I said she. Does it sound like a girly name? I don't know. Anyway, I'm completely losing track here. Anyway, that one in first place. Divinia in second place because that actually is a she. I see boobies. Explodes all red gems and cleanses all allies and gives them, in my case, 43 life. But as well as that, has that awesome third trait of causing a random positive status effect on a random ally on 4 or 5 gem matches, as well as being immune to mana burn, mana drain and mana steal. So really handy mana generator, as well as giving life, which will be essential on the later levels. Essentia is there mainly because of that third trait. All dragon allies start with 50% mana, so you get a nice fast start on that. And also summons a light storm at the start, which is handy because that is yellow, which means Divinia will get charged up, hopefully nice and fast. Imperial Jewel is there because basically the weapons we've got to pick from aren't much cop. And it was the best one to start with on the early game, but I would suggest that as the games go on, I would potentially pick Dragon's Eye later on, because as the enemies get tougher, if you've got a really tough last enemy in 4th place, changing them to an empowered baby dragon may be a lot easier than whatever is there enemy-wise in the first place. So banners-wise, we've got gone for Maze banner here because +2 green is good for Cyril Frostanath and +2 red is good for Divinia, and we don't care too much about losing that 1 purple off of our Imperial Jewel because we're gaining colours on all the rest. I've gone with Sunspear on this because I like red. Creative Force Storm at the start of every turn is good, and this class is based around red really. But as well as that, we get to freeze a random enemy at the start. Freezing enemies is one of the best defences in the game. It stops their extra turns on that colour in its tracks, as well as being immune to frozen ourselves. Root Trap is really handy, stops us being hit from skulls all the while they're entangled. And Firestarter, we've already got that already, but we may as well have another one just for good measure. And Gift of Fire, all red allies gain 1 magic, and we get bonus red mana from red gems as well, and deal triple skull damage to burning enemies. Kind of strange that for a dragon based team, there's little option to actually cause fire to the teams. You'd associate breathing fire with dragons really, and apart from Visk, there's not really any options in Dragon's Claw. Another fun team you could use for this as well, if you were so inclined, would be, if you have them, is the Great Worm. You could just have 4 of these, or 3 of these and a hero. 3 of these and Imperial Jewel, or 3 of these and Dragon's Eye maybe. Mainly because, well, only because that third trait, create 2 skulls when my turn begins. So basically if you had 4 of these, if you've got 4 of them, then you're going to win games because just by creating 8 skulls every single round. And again, I'd start Sun Spear with this as well because you're going to entangle the first enemy, as well as create red, which is good for the Great Worm's spell. And if you need to, you can also deal that damage as well. So just a fun team as well. If you have 4 of these, is just to do 3 of them and a hero weapon, or 4 of them if you got them, and just create a bunch of skulls every single round, which could be fun. I tried it earlier and it was good. And you can collect that troop from the underworld pretty easily. Right, but this is the team I'm going to go with for this video because it is the one that most people are going to be likely to have. Other troops that would work well, if you don't have Frostranath, is Volthronax. Explode a gem and deal 36 damage to all enemies, boosted by yellow gems, is also pretty decent. Basically, for the early parts of these kind of events, any troop that deals damage to all enemies is the sort of thing you want to go for. It makes it a lot quicker than just picking people off one at a time. Right, so let's give it a go. So as ever, we'll grab 4 matches when they're there, because Divinia's third trait is really handy. Causes a random positive status effect on a random ally on 4 or 5 gem matches. Obviously this isn't important to higher level players, but it is important to let lower level players or newer players to the game be aware of that, because I remember being an early player and what seems like a really easy win now wasn't so easy when you first start playing the game, which sounds obvious, but it is easy to forget how tricky some of those early games were when we were all new to the game. Just do a few different ones. Handy with Divinia, giving everybody that fast start on the mana. Now we'll just get the green to finish off collecting for our troop at the top. So yeah, this is going to be pretty straightforward for the first bunch. I'll go for the harder ones so the levels increase, just to see how it scales. The other good thing about the shop as well is if you go to the shop, you may want to get enough to get a medal eventually, because that does make a big difference to the damage output. But now, like, even I didn't wipe out the entire team there with one cast. So now we can use Divinia to explode all those red gems and hopefully get a load of charge excuse me, for our team. A little bit unlucky that I didn't charge up the troop in first place. There we go. So, not super fast going at the moment, so if you've got the gems, I would recommend going to the shop, which I will do now. Well, I will eventually once the game has decided it's going to stop lagging. God, that was so annoying the last 3 days. On the Gnome event, the Treasure Vault, how the devs don't realise to just turn on a few more servers. It was crikey, it was Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day for that event, and I didn't play it that much, but crikey, the ones I did were laggy as hell, and it's like, it's not rocket science, is it? It's like, people are off, people are going to be getting new consoles, people are going to be wanting to play the game because it's a Treasure Vault. You can have a lot more people playing than normal. That's not exactly hard to work out, but so turn on a few more servers. But no, we'll let everybody lag and make what should have been a 15-minute Gnomapalooza event more like 10 minutes, because there's the constant lag all the time. Right, so this is what you do if you want to speed things up a bit. You'll grab some of these. That's the first one. Now, when you grab the other ones, you'll soon start getting enough to turn that into a badge, like that. Now you'll get extra bonus damage. Now if we do enough, you'll eventually get enough to get a medal, and that's when you'll do an absolute ton more damage. But I'll just roll with this as we are for the minute, and the game has just randomly thrown me out. Excellent stuff. And now we'll start I want a level 10 again. We'll just do... let's do a Mistralis, just for good measure. Then we can equip that. Just got to find out where that is hidden. There it is, the dragon one. We'll swap out the Orpheus medal there because we've got cleanse with Divinia. Now we'll get a boost on damage. And now we've got everybody charged really fast. And that was nice and straightforward on that one. Let's get a Tiamata because it's the new troop that's in the campaign. She'll be unlocking that later and showing a few teams on that in future videos. Real fast charge there on the first troop. So it does make a big difference when you get the first couple of levels in the shop. Like I say, just by pure luck, sometimes when you get the potion of explosion, it can actually slow you down sometimes. But it does do more good benefit than bad most of the time. Well, not actually bad, but just slowing you down slightly when you may have started off the game seeing a really good 5 match which is like a guaranteed mana surge, which would have charged up, say, your first troop, and instead it explodes a couple of gems, which ends up completely spoiling that. But that doesn't happen that often. And you do get all the other benefits as well from getting the shop purchase. Just me being pernickety. Pernickety? Yes, that's the word. We'll just do. See, it's the only thing with these, like, it's good, but the spell isn't that useful. Like, even though we get 50% start, like, some players may prefer to have a second one of these in the team, the second Seal of Frostanath, because you got the potion of enchantment anyway. So 2 of them are going to be charged up really fast anyway, so that may be worth something to play around with. So rather than get that 4 match, which we don't actually need, I'm going to explode those because that is more beneficial. Oh look, left them on 1, 1 and 4. How typical is that? Yeah, but I don't think there's any super crazy fast team for this. The best teams you can do are the ones which do damage to all. And this Chara would do good damage, but that takes longer to charge. Best bet for a really quick game is to keep purchasing the shop tiers and get that spell damage onto 160% by having the medal. That is probably the best way to be super fast. But that does cost a bunch of gems. We have to wait one more round. We can cast our jewel instead. Let's do another Tiamata. It's clearly a homage to the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, if anybody's old enough like me to remember that. Classic cartoon from the 80s, 90s. There was a enemy in there who was the arch enemy of the Dungeons and Dragons people that were just trying to get back to their own time. And the arch enemy of them was a guy called Avenger. And his arch enemy himself was a dragon called Tiamat, which was a multiple-headed dragon. So I think Tiamata is a very obvious homage to that classic Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. Right, there's my team for this level of the Fire and Magic event. I may do a follow-up one when things get harder, because I may tweak the team around a bit, but this is quick enough for now. It's doing a decent amount of damage. You've got to cast first troop a few times to make it effective, but it does charge up pretty quickly. And look at all that health that when we cast Divinia, look, all our health is getting boosted massively, so Divinia is a really, really cool troop, one of the best troops in the game, I think, for a legendary. Right, so I'm going to call it there, no need to make it go on and on and on. Like I say, I will do probably a follow-up video on when these levels get much harder, because I may tweak the team a little bit and see if we can do any extra damage in a better way from there, because it may be quicker to start using a troop which does a lot of single hit damage and do that a few times. Or it may be best to stick to this and maybe add another damaging troop, I don't know. But for now, this team seems decent enough, and if you found it good or helpful, then be cool if you hit that like and subscribe button. Or don't. I don't really care. But it's Christmas, so you should do. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you later. Bye for now.